Hello everybody. I'm Alessio, I've written Bolt Action and now kind of very busy doing a huge number of these things. And we have Wojtek Fields here, a sculptor, master of all Bolt Action things, I would say, and other stuff. What else do you do aside from Bolt Action?
What do I do for Bolt Action?
Well, as well as Bolt Action, what else do you sculpt?
There's tons of figures and I lost track. I pretty much doubled with pretty much every single age and era.
All right.
And battles, so different models from different kind of...
But historical.
periods.
Historical,
Yeah.
You didn't go into the sci-fi...
I did sci-fi.
Oh, you did as well?
I did, what is it, fantasy. And I did the Conflict 47 Stahls
Oh, okay.
as well.
Ah, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
So everything.
Pretty much.
Okay. So basically, talk about Bolt Action. I'll give you a brief kind of where we are with this, and then questions about books, me, models and sculpting, Wojtek, because I know nothing. And yes, normally Marcus is here, but this year we thought a sculptor would be the right person for the job. Right. So Bolt Action. I guess if you're here, you mostly play Bolt Action. Yeah. So we just got Armies of Great Britain out. This is already on pre-orders, I think. Armies of the Soviet Union. If you want to come and have a flick through later, people seem to like this rule here that makes people go. Oh. There's a flying tank rule. There is a flying tank.
Have we already released the plastics for it, the infantry?
I don't know. Good question. Are they out? We don't know. Because
I've asked you, you ask me.
Manda will know. Maybe.
What do you want to do?
Plastic for the Armies of the Soviet Union.
They've been released.
Are they out? Will they be out soon?
They will be out soon. There's boxes of them in the warehouse ready to go.
Ready to go. Yeah.
Very soon. Okay.
Did you sculpt those?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
That's why I'm just kind of bragging right now.
Excellent.
Fine.
So yeah, that's the next book. Like the other books, it has got a lot of stuff in it because it's got all the things from, well, not everything, but most things from all the theater books and the campaign books. So we've taken a lot of stuff and put it in there. Normally, everything that has a model is in there, and there's some more things that don't have models yet that are still in there as well. After that, so this is ready to go. The next one is Army of Japan, Imperial Japan, which is in Osprey's hands. We handed it over, they're laying it out, they're sending us back laid out versions, and we check and correct. So Japan is going to be the next one. Going further, I mean, this is roughly quarterly releases. Obviously, I don't know the exact dates, but I mean, I don't know whether they will tell you. But the next book after Japan, if I'm not wrong, is Italy. And the Italian book, because this time it's not Italy and the Axis, is just Italy. And so we had more space there. And we did both the Regio Esercito before the armistice, and then there's an appendix which has both the Republican Army and the co-belligerent army. So you have I think three different lists in there, and we worked. Thank you. No. Yes, actually, I'll quickly go for the 3 minutes. Then you can tell us what's in there in detail and what you're saying. Yeah. So Italy, 3 things. Worked with some Italian chaps that knew the stuff, and so it was a lot of research and I've learned a lot, and about which unit went where, did what after the armistice, and interesting stuff.
So I have a question. When you write the stuff and when you go through the research, you're going just year by year, and then what happened in stuff, or you just tend to go different places?
Well, we normally my job is to take the units that other authors have produced. So there's normally an expert of that field that writes the army list, writes the units, etc. Sometimes they play Bolt Action, so they write army lists which are or unit entries which are all right. Sometimes they don't. They are not players. They're just experts of their field. So they would write this historical information, and then there's no rules information. I have to write that. But even when he's a gamer, I always check everything. So I tend to collate information, or in this case, Beth also helped a lot. She did the collecting of all the stuff. And when I get this manuscript, I then go through and go, right, edit. I do a very in-depth edit of rules, units, points, values, and particularly with the changes from second to third edition. We change some of the points values, how we point things. So I do a massive edit, and then there's technical edits, and it goes into Osprey layout, and there's some play testing, of course, from a group of guys. Marcus kind of handles, and we have feedback from play testing internally, and things get developed.
So if you have like a historical background of the story year by year, then you just write rules around that for the specificness of
these
certain theater.
Yeah, this book here, the Armies of the series called Armies of, is not specifically sectors. Basically, it's the entire war, the whole thing, and it's not divided by sectors. From third edition, what we started is dividing into early war, mid-war, late war. But before, in first and second edition, the information was generic, and you could do, you would know where to put it if you themed your army to a particular area or period. These ones from third edition, we started to actually have, this is a late war or a mid-late or early mid-late. So there is a guidance for the period, for the timing, but not. And funny enough, part of the work is checking all of those bits of information. And of course, you always find a bit of information where you go, oh, actually, this tank was used, earlier or later on. There's always, so it's a guideline. What I'm saying, we expect fully that people will go, there was examples of this tank still used in late war here. And there's this armor car that it's like there were 10 made, but some were used. So there are exceptions, and these are mostly guidelines. And I guess there's a lot of research work, probably more research work than we can possibly ever do, particularly having to release one of these every 3 months, roughly. It's frantic, it's a lot of work, but luckily a lot of it already exists in our, it's already been published.
That was probably my next question. How much of this already exists, and how much was that already in the books that we released?
The units are the same, basically because they're either from the previous armies of Soviet Union or for all the different case blue, all the different theater books and campaign books. But everything is now a little bit more joined together, because part of the job here is to get lots of entries written through 10 years of development. Well, more than 10 years, 2010, 15 years of development. And authors have changed, and the style has changed, and the rules have evolved. So there's a lot of different styles, even just the way the entries are written. So you have to kind of take that and make it all fit with third edition, the way we write things. And so, it's... Are there new units? If sometimes there are occasionally new units where actually a new kit has been brought in, maybe some unit that has some vehicle that was never covered by anything, then yes, there may be some new stuff in there, but is more the exception. Normally it's stuff that already exists because it's based on history. So, but we add things. I mean, recently I spotted an 88mm German gun on a half track. I was like,
for the Russians?
No, for the Germans.
Sorry.
I've seen that, and I was like, that's not in the armies of Germany. We don't have any self-propelled 88. And I was like that. And so, that's a kit that at some point we'll make. We'll have to release. Just to finish this before we get into the battalion. So, Japan, then Italy, then Armies of the Commonwealth. And the Armies of the Commonwealth has been a huge amount of work. We thought, we can keep the same schedule, and it will be easy. That what's the problem? And one of the things where then when it hits reality, you kind of go, who knows anything about the Indian army? What vehicles did they have over there? And it's like, I know. And then it gets, it becomes suddenly, so we had to decide how to split the whole, like which British equipped parts of the British Empire, and how do you use lines, because obviously you could have made so many lists. But in the end, we went for, see if I remember. So we have Australia, New Zealand. So there's armies of Australia, armies of New Zealand, Canada, South Africa. I should do the accents, but I can't. I'm sorry. They all sound Italian.
Then you can.
India and East Africa Command, which were, again, there was so could we split it some more? And then we went, we need something to kind of cover the other African, apart from South Africa. And again, it was an incredible experience because we work with different people that are more, I went and asked basically Richard Taylor, who is the boss at Weta Workshop, that do the costumes, which I had the fortune to meet when I was in New Zealand. And he was like, oh, I know the guy you need to talk to, and he put me in touch with this army guy that is a historian, and so he's like, oh yeah, Army of New Zealand in World War II, yes, so much information. You gotta go, okay, I need to boil this into an army list, one of the 6 army lists in this book. So it has been a gigantic endeavor and exciting. I've learned so much. I was like, Indian Marines, and it was like what they did. I was like, well, did they have Marines? Really? Okay. And so you learn, and then you speak with these in German. Oh yeah, my dad was in the Marines, and they were fighting the Japanese here and there. And it was like, okay. So you learn a lot. I've learned a lot by doing that book. After that, I think I'm still allowed to talk about the next one. Is going to be Armies of France. And again, we'll try to do to France the same treatment we did with Italy, to go, what happens after, and we go Vichy and then the Free French on the other side. Throughout all the books, we have always done the treatment where you effectively you can have specific sub-armies inside the army. So, for example, for the Soviet, you have you can theme and flavor the whole army to NKVD. So you can make NKVD machine guns and anti-tank rifles and all that. We can do Navy, Force, and Airborne. So you have the 3 in here. The Russians have a lot of special rules. They're the ones that have the most army special rules as well, I noticed. And then I think we pared it down a bit more. But until you get to armies of Commonwealth, where there's 6 different armies. But yes, so France will be given the same treatment. After that, I think I'm not authorized to say what's coming after. But yes, we're getting towards the not as big belligerents. And that's the plan for the future. So, but before we get into questions and stuff, what's in that box?
I don't know.
Well, there's pictures on the side.
There's pictures on the side, and most likely a lot of plastic. There is a Katyusha I can see.
Oh, okay.
There's a Katyusha in there, and there's a tank. So,
right. And how much infantry?
Yeah, you can see that it's tiny.
T-3485. Oh, is it this 3? There's an artillery piece as well from this distance. I can't quite. But
Yes.
Medium.
That's probably the next
So you get
project.
artillery, rocket launcher,
Weapon
tank
teams.
with big gun, weapon teams, big plastic kits. Lots of stuff in there.
Lots of stuff. Yeah.
Soviet.
So somehow, I have to say it. I'm Polish in general, and for past for quite some time I've been making a lot of Russians, and it's like, and it feels like it's like a torture, is it? so I'm trying to make them as nice as possible, but then I'm adding some bits and pieces that I kind of hope that people, when they look at this sprue, they will have a read what was in my head when I was making them. So that's it. Politically incorrect a little bit.
Yeah, we can have a lot of politically incorrect fun with Taction. I mean, I don't know if you were here last year, but we went through all the forces and went like, ooh, what politically incorrect rules, army special rules we could give to every country, and it got very unpublishable very quickly. So we really shouldn't repeat that. Yes,
I was the only one who does.
Yeah. No, it was me and Paul Sawyer, and yes, we.
Okay.
It's just like it was like maybe we should edit some of this out. You get very un-PC very quickly. Yes.
But there's still bomb dogs in the rules.
Yes. Well, I mean, if it's historical, it's a. Actually, that's a serious point. There's a lot of stuff in World War II where you kind of go, do you put SS troops? Yes, no. Do you put NKVD? So there's like,
Exactly.
I think Warlord, the policy for Warlord, if it was out in history, if he existed, yes, we do it, as long as it's obviously to do with warfare, not with, genocide. So whereas Rick Priestley definitely captured that very well, is what's acceptable in a war game. You always portray armed people against armed people. You never portray armed people against unarmed people. Against people who cannot defend themselves. That's the thing. But war games are, unlike reality, are fair. It's always the same amount of points, right? So
I like to sculpt them more like in a comic-like style. So they are more like, but at the end of the day, they are toys, and we play games with them. It's like you don't want to portray necessarily the cruelty and the bloody stuff. Although I know there's an appeal to it, but yeah.
No, I think
the guns versus guns makes a lot of sense.
But you did sculpt a bear, didn't you? Called Wojtek. So that's Wojtek sculpting Wojtek.
It's like people are asking me, is it I was named after the bear? It's like, no, the bear was named after me.
Which came first, the sculptor or the bear?
It's the name that's been used for humans, and they used it for a bear. So
does it have a meaning?
Kind of, from a very old-fashioned Polish. Yeah, it means kind of happy warrior.
Happy warrior.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wojtek.
Happy warrior. Huh? Alessio is Greek from defender, like Alexandros would be defender of men. So Alessio is defender. It's like guard, like protector.
We can identify ourselves with something.
Protector and happy soldier, happy warrior. Cool. Guys, any questions? Anything burning? Yep.
Yeah, with regards to the upcoming books, I noticed in the cabinet upstairs there's some Korean War weapons teams. Is that an indicator of an updated book?
Not certainly not within this window that I talked to you about. No, I know that. John Russell will just go, when are we doing Korea every second? So I guess yes, but first I think the most important thing will be to go through all of this, because the main driver is to cover existing ranges of models. So that's the urgent, really, really urgent thing. And after that, the stuff that doesn't have a range will be covered probably quicker with PDFs, with digital product, no paper products, in the light of then making more ranges and then publishing paper support product. But we try to make that distinction. If Warlord sells miniatures, it's got a book. If there are no miniatures, then it's probably digitally supported. It's not a strict rule, it's just more like a guideline. Korea, I haven't seen it on the schedule, but again, I don't have visibility on what comes after that, so I don't know. I don't know when. But at some point, yes, but... Yes?
So, I'm the poor unfortunate soul who plays French at my local.
Right.
That was really hard.
Big, nasty tanks.
Got as a medium. Are we going to see free French lists including stuff like the Mass 44 and the Panthers and stuff like that they got their hands on towards the end of the war to sort of bring themselves back up to their essentially post-war state when they were initially in Korea and stuff like that?
I don't think we have. We haven't done it yet. I don't think we haven't done it yet because I'm literally starting the project now. But I think the idea would be we have the Republic first before the armistice, and then, which is roughly what we have now. What you are used to play with. But then we're going Vichy forces, and part of the research is understanding which of the units of the original army were actually ported over into Vichy forces. And I'm trying to read up and read that, and it seems like not a lot. Like for the Chasseurs Alpins apparently were not basically disbanded after the things. You got Dragon Porte, where they sorry for the pronunciation if everybody's French, but the Dragon Porte were not, again, didn't exist until then. after when the Free French Army gets reorganized and trained and equipped British American gear, then they actually basically use this motorized infantry again, and so it's a similar unit. But deciding what goes into the Vichy army and what goes into the Free French Army is still not being done. So captured Panthers, I don't know. Do you know how many?
I know they started turning up sort of 1945.
Yeah, but we're talking 3, and we're talking
I think
200.
the main tank after the war for
After
a
the war,
bit.
right.
And then we got the ARL 44, the abomination that is.
Yeah, I mean, after the war, for sure, you would have a lot of German converted gear. But during the war, I think it would be mostly American gear, like towards the end.
Some prior to the end, but I'm not sure how many.
Yeah.
But
Well,
can we expect to see model kits with the mass 44?
that's the research we're doing, and as I said, it literally just started. So
The idea came across to me like a day or two ago about making more in STL files available for people to purchase. This is all right now, it's in a stage of idea, but it would be nice if we can eventually have like our plastic set, and then when we're thinking about certain weapons, then we can produce like a selection of arms with specific weapons, and then people can subscribe to it and then download the unusual or much more niche stuff, so they can produce their own kind of units, from this asset. It's in a stage of discussing how we're going to approach this, because there need to be a section on the website that you will go and it's like, this sort of asset is available right now, or this sort of asset. We'll see how it goes.
And in terms of the flavors, the sub-flavors in the list, I'm thinking Dragon Porté, so armored infantry, Chasseur Alpin, so your Gebirgsjäger equivalent, Alpini, so mounted infantry, and Foreign Legion, I'm thinking. So, for your desert, Africa. So, yeah, maybe. Again, that is not. We are just at the very start of that project. Some other. Was there another question? Seen an end? Yeah. Yeah.
Just thinking about the Australian New Zealand army, they had some pretty wacky tanks. Are we going to see models for them?
Well, I don't know about models, but in the book, I have put the Bob Semple tank. I was just like reading about it. He's like, have you seen that thing?
No,
it's made of corrugated iron, bolted together on a tractor with that's like lots of people, machine guns everywhere. One of the position is actually, because it couldn't lie on a corrugated iron over the engine, it was melting. The guy had a mattress and a machine gun.
So how many of those were used?
One prototype. So yes, we are slightly scratching the bottom of the barrel there, but it was just so entertaining. It was like, how bad can I make a bolt action tank be? Unreliable. It's like all the worst rules in one thing. It's just cool. And the guy was laughing and said, yeah, well, if you put in that in, it suggested another one. I forget the name. So we have another prototype thing. It was like a railway type thing they did.
The New Zealand one where it's got wheels and track.
That's the one. They sent one prototype to Britain, and the British were like, yeah, nice, yeah, no. No, thank you. We're using these Stewart things that from the US. Forget about this. Thank you. Good.
What was the main approach to differing the army rules and lists between the Great Britain and armies of Commonwealth?
Well, the book has 6 army lists, and these army lists where you get in a section. So say, for example, Canada, you have some historical information about the Canadian Army in World War II, so history. Then there's a set of army special rules, which are different. So you would use different special rules. They replace the armies of GB. Then there's a list of unique units that only that army has. And then there's the guides that you have at the end of the book, which tells you early, late war. There's basically effectively a guide like that, which says which of the common units from armies of Great Britain they used. So it would go, these are your unique, your rules, your unique units, and this is the rest. And the rest is literally the name of the unit, like in one of those guides. I saw, your Sherman 4, Sherman 3, not that, yes, this. So the whole thing. And then at the end of the book, we made a kind of a condensed version of all these, but no, it's not even condensed. It is effectively all the entries that appear in, if an army from Great Britain, if a unit from Great Britain appears in any of those lists, then it's there. So we repeated it so that the book is self-contained. You don't need armies of Great Britain. So repeat 6 times. So it's a big thing. But, and I'm sure we'll get some things wrong. I'm sure some people will go, I think you'll find that they had Crusaders A9s in the New Zealand army. It's like, oh, really? Where? When? Who? There's a lot of that, and there's a lot of converted Italian gear in the Western Desert, and so it's been again a very, very learning experience. I've learned so much about.
Just when you're going forward to some of the minor powers. Currently, you've got,
sorry, we don't say that. We call them further powers. Yes.
Currently, you've got Axis support for sort of Romania or Hungary. Are you looking at adding Allied support as an alternative in for some of the Allied nations like Greece, which will be viable as a British and New Zealand going in, or in the Netherlands for the Dutch East Indies?
No, as in that's not the thing I've seen, but it's an interesting idea. So when it gets to
there's a full New Zealand division went in to help the Greeks, which is probably not that much different to the Germans lending the Romanians some gear or people. And there was 8,500 Australians in the East Indies, plus Americans. There's American artillery unit and British troops as well, fighting the Japanese there. And it would just, it's, for the Netherlands, you can say, well, it's just a Dutch, but it's not. But, they separate it as a different place.
Yeah,
it would just be a bit of interesting flavour. But trying to divide it up, which units you're going to select, you can't pick any British unit. If the fight only happens in 42, you can't really have a comet appearing in Greece, can you?
Yes. And it's a good point. In the list, in the armies of Commonwealth, where you have the list of which units they had, there's also each unit has next to it early, mid, late. And sometimes the early, mid, late is different there than it is in Britain. Because again, this tank was sent in the Pacific sector only late war. So a tank that is available mid-war in Europe is not, but it is late war for that sector.
Quite a few people would like to maybe play Norway army, which is probably the worst from equipment point of view in the game, just from an interest point of view. But you could have Allied support. You had French legionnaires in there. You had British
commandos.
Well, I don't think we had commandos there.
No commandos.
Just
okay.
B commandos.
So can I ask?
Polish as well with the Polish hats on.
So you're thinking what sort of
a small nation that would make it a bit more playable, a bit more interesting.
What sort of models were you used and to convert them into those troops?
Well, the French Foreign Legion in winter uniform, so you had the sheepskin jacket.
Okay.
British would just be British early war.
Yeah.
I don't know where you get the Polish mountain troops from, because they escaped from, they came over the border. But a lot of the equipment, but then maybe got to tie in the total disorganisation of the campaign from the British and the Allies and whatever. But it's a war game, so you're just trying to get interesting units on the table.
Yeah.
So Norway's a thing for Allied support, Greece is, and Java is for Dutch East Indies. Just add a bit of more flavour to some conflicts that could be quite interesting, but at the minute are probably ignored.
Yeah, I wonder whether it's an army list thing and whether we should treat that as an army or as a supplement that deals with that. Which
the Germany Strikes book, which is very first edition, isn't it? You do have an army list for Norway, which has French Foreign Legion, but that's in first edition format.
Germany strikes. Yes.
I don't know. It just.
Yes. I think
it's
Germany.
obviously a few years down the line, but it's just.
Yeah. I think it is a good idea. We'll keep that in mind because, like you say, some of the Axis further nations have that, and we could mirror it on the other side. Yeah, that's a way to do it.
I mean, it's easier to do for the Axis. You just say any German unit or Italian unit. I think the Italian it has to be on the Eastern Front, and German it can't be veteran or whatever. But it more or less gives you
a lot of choice.
Full carte blanche, whereas those it's more limited.
And sometimes that's a bit of a problem as well, because then if you give too much access to those, then you're kind of making every army a bit the same. It's kind of it's interesting that sometimes you have a limited amount of stuff that gives you character. The moment you kind of take everything from other powers, then you kind of make it a bit blander, aren't you? So,
but I just thought, you also had French ski troops as well. So I mean, the French Foreign Legion in sheepskin jackets, which is quite a nice modelling.
It sounds like a great supplement to me. Sounds like a great little book with all of that, actually. Wow.
That's what it is. Basically, books drive what I eventually will have to make. So whatever units are in the books, then eventually I'll be given a brief to make those. And if not, if the unit cannot be made, I'm right now in a set of mind of thinking what models can be used with extra equipment
to convert,
and that would be an option.
Can you say what you're sculpting right now, or is it secret?
No, there isn't a secret. The Naval Brigade right now, I'm stuck with Russians for some time.
More Russians!
Sorry, you're producing more fresh Soviet naval miniatures?
Yes.
Do you get weapons teams as well?
Yes. Yes. Right now I've got ready sniper team, machine gun team, and what else? The command
Anti-tank
section.
rifle?
Anti-tank rifle will follow. There will be tank hunters, and there will be, I think they didn't have the mortar, they had the small mortar.
Yes, that's another interesting one. When you write those expansion and saying, it's like, the Bersaglieri, which level mortar got up to, it's like all the different subunits. It's like, did the paratroopers have this gun or this other gun, or would they have?
Because it needs to be some sort of accurate, is it?
Yeah,
because
you try.
Cannot just give them anything.
We try as much as possible to find some evidence, but photographs often are very useful, and you see actually there is no written, but you kind of go there you go. Yes, they're using a 20 mil gun. Yes, I look at the uniforms. They are Alpini, and they have this gun. Okay.
In the Commonwealth book, are you going to have rules for Australians using Italian tanks?
There are some converted. There's a lot of. There's converted for the New Zealanders and the Australians. I think there's some converted stuff. Yeah. There's some early M1340s and stuff like that. Yeah. Who was first?
Is your idea with the British and the Commonwealth books, on a game type, are you thinking that if you run Commonwealth forces, say you use the Canadians, you're using the Canadian rules, and then you just add in the British units, but they're still using the Canadian rules?
Correct. Yes.
So they're completely separate forces.
Yes. Your army uses the army special rules of that force, and then if you take a unit of, the most obvious would be engineers. You would have the engineers with the entry from the British book, the same, but you would use the Canadian special rules, not the British special rules in the book. Yeah. And sometimes, in some cases, I'm sure there will be some edge cases where that's a bit strange, but hey, one has to suspend the disbelief a bit and go, all right.
Does that mean we're getting NKVD, the full gamut with weapons teams and command and things? Was that all top secret?
Well, in the rules, yes. In the models, more Russians for you.
Yes.
Well, what you can say is that all of the Russians have got acne and spots, haven't you?
Strange teeth.
On the Russian sprue, you're only putting one gun for every team there?
Precisely.
I always find the instructions in that film when he goes, when the man carrying the rifle dies, not if the man. It's like, thank you, that's nice. When the man with carrying the rifle dies, the other man picks up the rifle. You have said if,
Yeah.
for morale. Like.
Happy times.
Can we expect the TOG at some point to get to miniature?
I've got t-shirts.
Which one? Sorry?
To what?
The TOG.
Oh, the talk.
Because I know that would be a money maker.
Well, you could field it with the Home Guard. I mean, the Home Guard never left UK, the TOG never did. But,
All the fun is, we could do the great Panjardum, wasn't it? The big wheel thing with it.
Well, we've got quite far. And
There is still
we've actually developed into
quite a bit of stuff that's missing, and what I really want for the models to eventually go into the World War II is more horses, to have bikes and motorcycles, because we have plenty of those as well.
Yeah, the rules certainly still support motorcycles and horses and bicycles for pretty much everything.
And just as like a nice vignette, or even to make them in plastic eventually, because we're going to make guns in plastic at some point. Weapons will go into plastic as well, the weapon teams. And little by little, but really would like to make more horses. And
you want to do wing lancers, don't you? World War II?
World War II Lancers, they were. They were, well...
Without the wings.
We've got SS Cavalry. That's the only cavalry unit that we actually have.
Right.
And it would be nice to have other cavalry units even for the Russians.
Yeah, for example, Cossacks. Cossacks appear in the German list and in the Russian list. So yeah.
That would be nice to do. But that's just me thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Could you perhaps see an armies of Cossacks?
I suppose if you...
Possibly an entry in a multiple book similar to the Commonwealth.
Well, I mean, if you take the option of giving all officers horses and take the Cossacks as your infantry, you can have a horde of cavalry. I think I nerfed cavalry and close combat in general a bit in this edition, right? So I don't think it will do too well. It will look very good, but I don't think it will perform very well.
I don't care about winning, I care about looking good.
Okay, it will look good.
was the Cossack army in Case Blue one there?
Don't remember.
Yes.
Don't remember. There's too many books. Sorry, brain.
In that case, when the cavalry will be built as models and bikes, then you can write it in a book to be better, and it will sell better. And then when people have it, then we will nerf it down.
Yes, the pendulum is like, cavalry is too good. Cavalry is terrible. Oh, make it good again. Yes.
We're not that side of the canal, are we?
Ideas.
There's one unit that there's lots of units mounted on motorbikes, but because of the cost of motorbikes, very few people ever use it.
It's a bit high, isn't it? Yeah.
It would just, it would look nice in a lot of cases. I mean, loads of nations have it as up to about 43 as a standard option.
Yeah.
So it's cost prohibitive to run them.
I've seen the cost recently. I was like, that's a bit high, but obviously, unfortunately, I cannot start to make bikes cheaper for further books when they cost, it's like that. So, Old Action 4th edition, I will make a note. Make bikes cheaper. Sorry, was there a question on that?
The core book at the moment has some scenarios and narrative scenarios that you can do, and as I'm sure a lot of people kind of interested in the rule set from like films and things like that. I was just wondering, would there be any kind of digital supplements about maybe scenarios based on popular films from the period or things like that? Or?
Well, I mean, those tend to be one-off fun ideas, and if you have any, I suppose, send them over. And Marcus will be the person that would normally does a lot of that development of support through articles. So maybe makes some cool articles. Yes, it'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm surprised because we're making some of the characters that are based on movies, like from Inglourious Bastards. We've got the character.
All right.
We've got a couple from, we've got MASH characters and all that stuff. And
I'm not sure we should say this on record.
Really?
I'm joking. But yes.
That's like you're making me very self-conscious right now.
Inspired to stuff like that. Yeah, for sure.
Inspired, but to write scenarios for those would be nice. And actually, I would think we should go in a route of making much more special vignettes and characters from the movies, just because I like the comic style of a World War II idea, and to have those characters.
Yeah, I mean, in the fullness the fullness of time, we're thinking of maybe an entire new game, which is more commando comic style. It's like a smaller. Imagine a game of bolt action where every model is a dice. So you have 12 dice, 12 models individually moving around, which is, it's just like bolt action where everybody's being shot down to one guy per unit, right? Something like that, but with scenarios, more scenario driven, more comic film action. The Raid on Rommel, great film. Not, but something like that is something that one day we'll do. We've been talking about it for the last 15 years, so I'm sure that at some point we'll actually make it, because John really wants to do it. It's just a case of finding the resources and the time and stuff. So at some point, John will go,
maybe when we
make it so.
maybe when we build enough of those special monthly characters, then when we possibly decide to re-release them in that sort of format, to have like a character base.
Yeah, it could be a mix of historical and you do Otto Skorzeny and or indeed slightly inspired to other movies and stuff. Where you go,
Alessio, you previously had the firefight rules, which was kind of similar to that, wasn't it? So that was based on Saving Private Ryan and a squad. Each squad member had a die.
Yeah, it's something that we toyed with. Yeah, we toyed with for years and years. And there's always the conversation of, we should do a Commando comic version of the game. And then and the new edition and 6 books in 2 years, 12 books in 3 years. So yeah, there's always a resources issue. But at some point, I know John wants to do it. At some point it will happen, but when? I don't know.
So obviously we've got to get through all the existing belligerents first. But once that's done, what are the chances of sort of what-if scenarios involving our 2 major armies that are around at the time that don't get involved, Turks and the Swedes? Because obviously the Swedes have got a full evolution of tanks which are quite comparable to what comes out in the war, and the Turks are the Turks. There's plenty of places they could have gotten involved if things had gone different diplomatically. And obviously you've got the Spanish, but the Spanish is more of a interesting hodgepodge.
See, I never heard of that. I've heard of further belligerents, and you have to do all of that. Actually, nations that were not belligerent just do their thing, and what if they get involved? Wow, that's not very high on the priority list, I think. But yeah, never heard of it before, so I'll put it at the bottom of the list and go, and this too, when we're done with that.
It sounds like more Conflict 47 stuff, I guess.
It's a very big water, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm just checking, did you mention with the Commonwealth book the Gurkhas would be featured in that, or is that going to be...
Yes, India. Yes, Armies of India has Gurkhas in. Yeah, absolutely. And you can make the entire army Gurkha as well, not just, it becomes like one of the flavors. Machine guns, mortars,
Work similar to how Armies of Great Britain works now, where you basically just, there's a points cost, make each man a Gurkha.
Yes, and you can make special officers and weapon teams, etc. You can give them the Gurkha rule, and so you can have the entire army made of Gurkha if you want.
Will that be supported by new kits, or is that going to be existing?
Yes. It will be supported by well, we do plan to release. It's not fast as everybody would want, but for the major release and major books like that, it should always follow with a plastic sprue of some sort, and we will try to do that for all, if not most, of the books. That's the answer. So I would say yes to that.
Yes.
So you haven't just been making Russians?
Well, I haven't started on that project yet. I kind of know it's in the clouds, and it's a possibility for me of doing something else. Yes.
When you're sort of looking through reference materials when you're thinking of sculpting, do you ever sort of look at individual photos and go, I'd love to sculpt that individual, or is it quite sort of generic?
A lot of the time, yes. It's when I got the brief, it's usually already loaded with a lot of pictures for the a mood feel of the army. But then when I'm making another machine gun team, you know? It's like how many machine gun teams you can make so they look different to one another. So you try to find some sort of reference that's got a cooler pose or a different take. And there's also a limitation of how it can be cast in a process. So I need to have in mind how many parts the thing would get. So yeah, pretty much that's what it is. The cool poses are usually reserved for the special models, and I always want an input from the studio guys to tell me, well, you can even pose for me if you want to have like a specific pose, but yeah, I rarely get that. Usually I get the photos of something very cool, and I don't know if some of you guys went through the studio when I was showing the command section for the Russian Naval Brigade. The guy who's holding the flag, it's a very much propaganda poster that was never briefed to me. I was just thinking, that's a cool one, I need to make this one. So yeah.
When we did the studio tour, there were some bases with some cobbled streets and some pavements on. Is there a likelihood that we could see some textured bases that come out that we could actually use for, you know, if we're doing Stalingrad or Berlin, or because we're doing a campaign at the moment on our channel, and it'd be really good if actually they were available.
I don't know if I will tell too much or not. I had a conversation with John about right now we supply the round bases on the sprues, and they all kind of flat for people to make the flock and but it would be nice going forward to start designing those bases for a specific theaters and have like Games Workshop does. It's an issue because, as you guys know, all the figures have the flat feet, so it needs to be some sort of reasonably set up. So there is a texture base, and yet you can put all those models in somehow. So it's not limiting, you know?
Yep.
Am I explaining that correct? Yeah, thank you.
Question from Wojtek. With the Soviet Union, and particularly the anti-tank rifle teams, we've seen a lot of the Degtyarev, the PTRD. Will we see the seminal PTRS rifle in any of the kits coming up? Do you know?
Which one is it specifically?
That's the semi-automatic anti-tank rifle. Same caliber, same cartridge.
That's
another one
automatic.
that was in production. The PTRD hit theatre first in 1941.
Yeah.
And then the PTRS came a few months later.
And that's actually a cool idea for this STL kind of a thing that I was talking about. This sort of stuff should be in that sort of brackets when we will decide to somehow like we will be selling this product, and for some time it will sell nicely and people will get interested in something. To get back to interest to it, we will start releasing extra stuff like that to have that sort of take. So I would say it's a possibility, although it's not being written yet in any plans. But I will look into it.
The rules going, how am I going to do that?
Well, funny you say that, because actually I was thinking we have done that for the Japanese, for the Italians, where the majority of the rifles were semi-automatic, the auto-tank rifles. We're going to go, oh yeah, so they have different rules from the Russians, because where the majority was a single bolt action one. So you kind of go, but then you go, yeah, but there are no rules for the two different types of, so we could have done, yes, but...
How complex do you want to go?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm not necessarily thinking of like a points upgrade for a different rule.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of a different alternate model.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it is. In that case, it would be just an aesthetic thing, one or the other, same rules. But because there are other semi-automatic rifles which actually have an extra shot in the future, exclusive, they fire 2 shots instead of 1. That would have been an easy upgrade, plus 5 points or plus like whatever, plus X points, get an extra shot kind of thing. But no, nope. Maybe in the future.
Once we've gotten through the Armies of books and we can start getting back to the theatre books, are we going to see Victory at Seas, Blood Red Skies, possibly Cool Seas, scenarios tied in with bolt action ones so that you can play through the campaign and different aspects. So you're going through the theatre as a whole rather than through just the ground war.
The campaign idea.
I don't know. As in, at the moment, really, we are heads down trying to get these out as soon as possible, and we have this vague. And then we'll talk about what comes after. We haven't done and then we'll talk about what comes after. Maybe some of the higher echelons that have already discussed that, but I'm kind of literally kind of going, and the next book, quick, next book. It's like, with Osprey sending us. Because imagine, I have these is now a book. Japanese is a set of PDFs that Osprey are sending us to check. And the Italians are a manuscript that I sent them and they're starting to lay out. So that's a manuscript, like a Word document. And then the Commonwealth is the same stage, but a different level of development, different playtest feedbacks and of all these books. And it's just, yes, that's why I'm saying, yes, after we've done all of this, I don't know. Yes, maybe there is a plan. I don't know. They haven't told me yet, but at the moment, yes, definitely all hands to the pound, kind of go, yes, get another one of these out, quick. Yep.
Have you had any further thoughts on autocannons? Because they are becoming the
new meta, isn't it?
So either increasing their points cost or just making them less effective.
Well, that is something that is not a thing that can be tackled through changes or erratas. I mean, that kind of level of change, that's my approach, that would be a note for 4th edition, not something that you do through, because what do you do an errata where you say, all autocannons should cost an extra X points and stuff. You're breaking the game if you do that. I mean, some people will know about it, some people will not know about it, and making development through erratas, I found, in my experience, always leads to awfulness and games dying off because people are going, how does it work? What's the latest thing? They changed it. How does it work? So I tend to use erratas only for things that are literally unclear, or it says 5 on this page and 10 on that page. Which one is it? So for things that are not developmental stuff. We're keeping an eye on it, of course, and we're seeing how powerful they are and how common they have become. But yes, we are aware that they are a bit good these days. Yes, we're monitoring it and see what we're going to say.
Are we going to see more of the compendium type books? So just after 3rd came out, there was the compendium that came out, which had it picked very specific parts of theatres and characters within there. So are we going to see more of that type of thing?
Well, that connects a bit with what I was saying before. At the moment, I know the schedule of these books. What comes after, I don't know what the plan is, and we'll talk about how to slice that particular, kind of like, sectors, periods, theaters. I don't know. So I don't know yet.
In V2, you had 1 or 2 nations that featured heat ammunition, like Hungary. They had them in Brazil.
Yeah.
Is that going to carry on into? So it's disappeared in PDF form because they went back to the 2014 book. Are they going to get that back in when they get a book? Because that was part of their national meta.
Yeah, it's not a general rule for anybody, but there are units which have upgraded ammunition, which has different values and stuff. Yeah, but it is a case by case.
Some nations specified in it, and others didn't.
Right. Yeah. Again, because there are different people working on different entries, and sometimes we unify things, sometimes we decide to leave them as a one-off and single case. It's a difficult choice sometimes. So, yeah.
I think it was a points option, one that you paid if you wanted to use.
In some cases, like Japanese do have that, Italians do have. So there's a different. Yeah, there's a different approach, book by book, I guess, and case by case, I think, is the. Yeah.
As we were discussing the possibility of a Moderns book, maybe.
A what?
A Moderns book for bolt action.
Right.
I mean, on the previous lectures, and personally, I'd love to see Vietnam. And I was just wondering, rules-wise with Alessio, but Wojtek also that'd be quite a change in sculpting.
No, I wouldn't mind. Vietnam was definitely a few years ago. We were talking about it in a studio, and I know that was a thing. I don't know if it fades out or it's still in a back burner as a plan, but it's definitely it was discussed as a thing.
Oh yeah.
Because they've got lots of cool stuff, and they've got stuff from World War II, lots of assets that can be reused. And
but there has been quite a few Vietnam games out, and they never seem to have gone that far. I don't know if it's too close or it's not really what you've got with bolt action. I don't know.
I think we're going to do Korea. We're going to do Korea before we do Vietnam.
I've created some Team Yankee, and I noticed on their site a couple of days ago they're doing Checkpoint Charlie, and they also are now advertising Nam as well.
Right.
Obviously, it's 15mm scale on Team Yankee. I'm sure it's going to be the same with that. So.
Yeah. As far as I know, that we would do Korea before we did Vietnam, if at all. That's a decision for John. Really, John will have to decide whether Warlord will go there or not. But definitely Korea, I think, is more crossover with World War II, so there's more gear that would be, the same. So I'm pretty sure we won't do Vietnam before we do Korea, if ever. Bolt action, yeah. Oh, it could be a completely different game, of course. I don't know, of course. But yeah, that's the question for John, really. It's such a big policy thing.
What unit that doesn't currently have a model but has rules would you most like to sculpt?
It's very biased of what I'm going to say right now. Polish army. Yeah, because we've got models, but they've been dated, and I'm keep looking at it. Like this is like a hole in the history that it's the start of the war. Obviously, it didn't last that long, but yet there was a lot of cool stuff there. So that's what I want to do as a personal kind of. I wanted to start it as a personal project, but turns out I don't have that much free time, to do it. So I would like to do it as the book potentially will be created, because like I said, it always drives the models that follow. The list in it drives the models that follow. So I'm hoping for the book to be first, and then everybody gets excited, and then I will have like a free reign of just doing the stuff for it.
One last question. Okay.
How do you think version 3 has gone for you so far? Has it met your expectations?
Exceeded my expectations, I have to say. I was very nervous when it came out, because you never know. You kind of go, Bolt Action 2 wasn't broken, right? It was like, oh my God, this game doesn't work. So having to change it is a risky thing to do, because you kind of go, oh, will I break it? Will people start to hate it and all walk away and nobody plays it anymore? But particularly introducing the cover save was the thing that absolutely I was like, oh God, because I heard some people going, oh my God, boycott Bolt Action if they put cover saves in. I was like, oh, but I think the game works better. And so I really angst about it. And I remember talking to John, to Rick Priestley about it. It's like, but really, do you think it's such a bad? And they're like, trust your instincts. If you think the game is better, go for it. Yeah, we'll trust you. And that trust was incredibly rewarding, just to be trusted to that level. And luckily, it seems that if you look at facts, Bolt Action 3rd edition is exceeding everybody's expectation. They're running out of stock all the time. It's always, reprint, do more. There's a lot of new people coming in, which I think that streamlining of the shooting, basically the game flows better. I think is simpler. So yes, very happy, very excited, and everybody is here. It seems to be, has exceeded everybody's expectations. So, well, thank you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.